I'm also kind of reading into more Indian books, Indian writers. I kind of support them, and especially the debutant authors. What has happened is there is so much of books in the market these days.
Hmm.
To really some of the really good stories from the freshers, from the fresh authors, they kind of it gets lost in that huge market.
Welcome back to another episode of SYWK podcast where no topic is off limits. I hope you heard my previous episode where my guest Mr. Vishwajit Kashid spoke and explained the importance of donating blood and platelets and how you can save someone's life with your good deeds. If you haven't heard it yet, please do, the link will be in the description. So coming back for today's episode, we are going to talk about how important it is to support and read the Indian books and the authors. Because when knowledge lies within the country, why look for it outside? It does not mean that I'm discouraging the other authors from the West or anywhere from the world. All I'm trying to say is that why not give a little support and encourage the Indian authors, since we have a variety of books for all kind of readers. Joining me for this episode is someone who has an amazing FB page called as Pretty Much Everything, and even she loves to promote, talk and give reviews to the Indian authors on her platform. She is the one and only Dr. Kaveri Purandar. Please do check her FB page. I will leave all the details in the description. Also, if you are a new reader, Dr. Kaveri has suggested a few books which you can start with. And if you are an Indian author, there is a special message for you at the end of the episode. So listen till the end and enjoy our conversation.
Namaste from India and Jai Hind. And thank you
Namaste.
so much, Desmond, for having me on your podcast. And I'm very thrilled today because it's my first ever podcast interview. And it is titled as something you want to know, but I'm sure that you're doing a great job. And there is so much so everybody wants to know about it. So congratulations for your venture as well. And thank you so much. So, yes, I am Dr. Kaveri, and right now I'm taking up my hobby and my passion and taking it forward. So, my page is called as Pretty Much Everything, Rendezvous and Reviews with Kaveri. So, it has basically two aspects, amalgamation of two things. One is I conduct interviews of inspiring people from all walks of life, and not as celebrity as such, but then people we meet in our day-to-day life who inspire us in some way or the other, who have really marked their niche in their respective fields, right from corona warriors to fire engineers to everybody who are contributing in some way or the other through their work in the society for its betterment, for its development. And the second aspect is I am trying to contribute in literary field by inviting some of the debutant authors, supporting their work, having their quotes featured on my page and tagging their books purchase link and everything, and also having them over an interview on Instagram live or on Facebook live. And then we have book launches. There is so much series going on. There is Let's Talk About Your Book series on my page, and there is this book launches that I conduct virtually. And definitely there is recently I have started with book review with kids. So yesterday we had our first episode, so flagged off with that. So these two are the main aspects of my page. Through, as I said earlier, through whatever little I can do, I try to create awareness in the society from the expertise of the guest. So that is all about pretty much everything.
That is quite interesting. And to tell you a fact that first time how I got introduced to you and your page was you were live with Neil De Silva,
Yes.
who's like a god to everyone in the horror writer association. Basically, he's
Yes.
helping a lot of authors in the horror genre. To tell you another fact is I am not a reader. I don't read books, but because of Neil De Silva, he inspired me to read books and then to get in touch with more authors and to communicate with
Yeah.
them. And even I do pretty much similar to what you do, is like get authors on
Yes.
my show and talk about their book, and it's quite interesting. And I've got a new hobby right now, which is reading books. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you once again for coming on my show, and it's going to be a fun conversation talking about books and talking about your page. So now, see, now I am a new reader. Okay, I don't read a lot of
Yeah.
books, and many of my
Yeah.
listeners also are not into books. But if you can suggest a book which will be a good read for a new reader, which will be
Okay.
very easy and which will be very interesting, any genre it
Mm-hmm.
can be, if you can just
Yeah.
suggest a book.
Okay, so to begin with, I'm myself, I'll go with start with small books. Don't go for very thick ones because we
Hmm.
get that feeling, कितनी मोटी book है, इतना बार कैसे पढ़ेंगे? Because we unless until we start reading it, we don't realize that we have that kind of patience to read that much of thick book. So
Hmm.
start with small books. So I started with, of course, Twinkle Khanna's, debut book,
Yeah, yeah. That it is some funny, it
Mrs.
is.
Funny Bones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I seen some interviews when it had released 2-3 years before, I think
Yes.
so. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
So it is nicely written. So people who like, kind of humor in the genre, so
Hmm.
they can completely go with that. And I mean, that was a time when that was my first book. And then
Hmm.
slowly I finished 4 books in a month, back to
Hmm.
back, back to back. And
Hmm.
from there, the reading journey started.
Started.
And
Uh-huh.
then, yeah, if you want to have that, a bit of philosophical life thing. So there is a book written by Sri Gaur Gopal Das, and
Hmm.
it's Life's Amazing Secrets.
Yes, yes,
It's very
yes.
nice.
To tell you
Very
a
nice.
fact, I have that book. My wife has read
Wow.
that, but
Mm-hmm.
I never found interest. But now, since you suggested, I'll surely check this and read this book out.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so much variety, like the thing is ki, depends on the nature of an individual. I'm little mischievous.
Hmm.
I like really humor, that dash of humor in all the writings or all the books. Even
Hmm.
when I write, there will be a dash of humor, a tinge of humor. I don't
Hmm.
like to be serious all the time.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
so I like that element because in Life's Amazing Secrets also, Gaur Gopal Das ji has, I mean, the description is
It's
very nice.
in
There is not,
humor. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
yeah, not its typical, gyanbazi happening over
Ha
there.
ha. Yeah. Even his videos on YouTube
Is
also, that
very, very,
he can
this thing,
connect with
candid.
people. Yeah.
Yes, yes, exactly. Connect with people. So books, and also there are so much. Recently, I had author Shruti MS, who
Hmm.
unfortunately lost her husband at a very young age, and
Hmm.
there's 2 kids, and she has written a book, Blooming Beyond Pain, and she's
Hmm.
a debut author. How nicely she has penned.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the thing is, like, when I had on my FB Live and we were talking about a book, and I was like, it doesn't seem like this is a write up for debut author.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
she did a very nice job. So they are
Hmm.
one of the very good reads. If you are going through a low phase, you should read that what
Hmm.
all she has gone through. And also she has given a solution, what all she did to overcome that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Such inspiring books are there. There's so much. There is Love Jihad by Soumya Dinesh, and so many authors. Yeah, there is Vinita Taneja, Snehalata Agarwala, and there is Mamta Kashyap. All romantic fictions they write. So it's all, I read all the genre. Though I'm little away from the self-help books, but as I said, it has
Yeah.
to be like something like Gaur Gopal Dasji's book,
Ha ha ha.
a little bit of everything, not just preaching. Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. So whoever wants to check out this book, I will leave the link in the description. See, now the next thing what I wanted to tell you is, even I am doing this, is promoting a lot of Indian authors, and especially
Mm.
because my interest is more in the paranormal and in the horror stuff. I have interviewed
Mm.
most of the Indian horror authors
Horror.
who have written
Okay.
their books. And
Okay.
I feel that authors needs to get more respect, because if it is a book, if it is a movie, anything, you need a writer. At
Hmm.
the end, even if a movie is nice, it's because how the writer has written the book, sorry, has
Hmm.
written the script, I mean. So
Right.
everything revolves around the writer, the author. So we need to give a lot of respect, and we as individuals who have such platforms, we need to promote a lot of authors.
I'm also kind of reading into more Indian books, Indian writers. I kind of support them, and especially the debutant authors. What has happened is there is so much of books in the market these days. So really some of the really good stories from the fresh authors, they kind of it gets lost in that huge market for whatsoever reasons. So and I tend to read less from Western writers, only because of the reason that what the kind of English that they use is sometimes, at least for me, it's become difficult to understand to some extent.
Simple
So
terms समझ में नहीं आते.
समझ में नहीं आता है बस. And the kind of English we write is, we write for a book, is their language or their way of talking in day-to-day life. It's their very normal conversations happening.
Yeah.
And this, and for us, that is kind of what we write technically in the book, using the read in between lines and the hidden things between the two sentences and all. So I prefer more of reading Indian books, because I remember, the power of subconscious mind. I kind of couldn't it couldn't hit me that much.
Yeah. And the thing
As much
is,
as
for a new reader, if they take a book which is advanced, okay, we all speak English, but the thing is, there are still some words everyone does not know. And it's a fact, you cannot know all the words in English. And if you start reading a new book, which is from Western side, from US and all, first of all, you will half of the time you'll spend searching what is the meaning of that word only on Google. और इसका मतलब क्या है, उसका मतलब क्या है. But the thing is, when I read that book Haunted, it was so simple and it was so clean that I understood everything. It just felt like, it's like a daily thing which I'm reading, and I could connect to that book. The main thing is, you need to connect to the book. And if you are like an advanced reader who's reading for like 10-20 years, then if you read that book, it's okay. But if you're a beginner and then you go to that books, it will be very difficult. But the thing is, since we are talking, I just want to put a message out to everyone. If any of the new authors is listening to this, and if you want to promote your book, please feel free to get in touch with my guest or me. Anyone, or you can come on both our channels and we can just promote and talk about your book, because we are excited to get to know about you and get to know more about your book as well. So it will be a fun conversation. So whichever author is listening, please contact us anytime. So thank you so much for joining me today for this lovely session and talking about your page, PME, or else we can call it pretty much everything. So thank you once again, and we hope to do another episode soon.
Yeah, okay, and thank you very much for especially having acknowledging my message initially, and it was really nice. And it's always, you feel good now when you talk about your work, about yourself, and of course to meet new people as I met you now here. So already so many plans happened. We spoke so many times, more than a couple of times. So it's a good feeling. And I'll remember this. It's most memorable because it's my first podcast ever. And I'm rarely there on the other side of the screen. And for the fact that I'm there today on the other side of the screen, it's special. It's special. So thank you for all these special moments, Desmond.
Thank you. Kem cho majama. That's it.
Okay, and thank you for all the listeners, guys. Do give your feedback if you are listening to this. How did you enjoy our conversation? Right, Desmond?
Please like. If you want to dislike. If you want to like. If you want to share. Please go and get in touch with my guest as well. Get in touch with me. I'll leave all the details in my description. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And all I would like to say to the Indian author is that respect to whatever you are doing right now. Continue writing such amazing stories, and remember, feel free to contact us anytime to promote your book. We will always be happy to have you on our platform. Thanks for listening, and God bless.